So let's take a look at different fuel pumps and different fittings and regulators and stuff. Most muscle cars and V8s, American V8s and stuff like that, run a mechanical fuel pump. Can you run a mechanical fuel pump with nitrous? Sure, especially if it's, you know, under 150 or 200 horsepower shot, of course. The trick is, though, you're going to need a good high-flow pump. This one right here is by Edelbrock. It's what they call a 6-valve pump. It's a very high-flowing pump. If you look at it, the inlet and outlets on it are large 3/8 pipe thread. Come on over here, same thing, 3/8 pipe, and it's as big as my thumb. Okay, that's a good amount of flow. What you don't want to have is a nice looking pump that says, oh, it's chrome or it's nice looking or whatever, and it's got little teeny fittings on it like these guys. Okay, these are not what you want to have on a fuel pump. You know, an adequate fuel line size is 3/8 of an inch. This barb right here is 3/8 of an inch. You got to be careful of these fittings though, because, come down here, these obviously are different size, but just for comparison I want to show you. If we look at this fitting right here, it's got a hole all the way through it, and it's a good size hole, 3/8 of an inch. Okay, if we look at this fitting right here, looks like it's 1/4 inch, and the hole looks pretty big on this side. Watch what happens over here though. Come over here, there's a little micro hole on this side. This is what you got to watch out for in brass fittings. Can you imagine having a fitting like this on a fuel pump and you think, hey, I got a particular size fuel line on here. Well, the pump's trying to flow, everything else, the line from your tank all the way up to the pump might be big, the line going from the pump to your carburetor might be big, but then you get this little teeny restriction in there like that. I mean, that's a little micro hole. This is for like an air pressure line or something like that. So you got to be careful of this kind of stuff and make sure that even though you have a particular size brass fitting, make sure the hole in it is a correct size, because sometimes they do step down. That'll cause a massive decrease in fuel flow. You go hitting that nitrous with a fitting like this on here, you're going to lean out, you're going to pop that motor, you're going to melt it down. So be sure when you're running fittings that they are straight through and that the hole inside is adequate. So high flow pumps, same thing with electric pumps. Exactly the same thing. This is a good aeromotive pump. These things flow a lot, way more than any stock factory pump could ever flow. So if you're running an EFI system and you need 60 or 70 pounds of fuel pressure somewhere in there, or more or less, you need a pump like this. So a lot of times when you're running lots of juice, or lots of nitrous, you're going to want to upgrade the fuel system. The more power you're going to run, obviously you're going to have to upgrade the fuel system more. But if you keep it, again, moderation, a stock pump would be just fine if you use it in moderation. If your pump's not adequate and you've checked your fuel pressure and it's not adequate, just upgrade to the next pump. You can call nitrous places, Nitrous Supply, Nitrous Oxide Systems, any of the good nitrous companies like that, Edelbrock, they all have good tech lines. And whatever system you purchase, give them a call and say, hey, I need a little help. I have this, my fuel pressure does this. They're tech lines, this is what these guys do for a living. They'll be glad to help you on that kind of stuff, and they'll point you in the right direction and suggest a pump that you should use. Of course, if you have too much, which is common, if you have too much fuel pressure and fuel flow, you're going to need a good regulator. And this is another aeromotive one. This is for a big boy motor, 500 plus, 600 cubic inches. This thing flows, it returns a lot of fuel and it can regulate a lot of fuel.